Good morning. We're going to give this a try again, mainly because the McDonald's was a disaster. And I was walking back from it just now. I said to Michelle, we should really go online because we told a few people we were coming on, and it would just be nice to sort of connect with you on an internet connection we can trust and answer some of the questions and just unwind a little bit, and also have some cool. We'd saved. Nobody's in at the moment, but Michelle has shared this out. Do it on the community line. Maybe people will get a notification. So we also, I'll just wait till some people come in and talk to you about these snacks. One of my friends is, well, that's getting a bit light there. Maybe I should draw that across a little bit. Yeah, that might be better. That's okay. Did I make it
just checking.
Public?
Yeah.
I did.
You did.
So some people are coming in. I'll explain what we did. Drip on coffee. We won't disconnect. Hey, Kelly. Kelly, we decided to come on anyway from back in our apartment because we couldn't trust that Mackie D's Wi-Fi, and I'm so sorry about that for those of you that joined and hung around. Oh, it happens, and I was really, you could probably see in the second video I put up that I was pretty frustrated. We just had a complete not a meltdown, but a frustration. In McDonald's, that when you pull down your Wi-Fi lists, it shows you all the different connections you can get, and McDonald's has just completely gone. And this is the sort of Japanese for it's not working, or it's busted. And we just sat there with our McDonald's going cold on the side, trying to get a connection. So how are you all? So we went out and got some snacks. I tell you, the snacks here in Japan are fantastic. I think I could probably do like maybe a half a dozen snack videos and we wouldn't repeat ourselves. We did a little filming of Japanese snack in the sakura. Sakura, for those of you that don't know, is the beautiful cherry blossom that's around, just coming to the end of that season. Actually, the last of the cherry blossom is starting to fall off the trees, and we did a film of some Japanese snacks in the sakura. I'm going to edit it very soon and get it up for you. Oh, by the way, added to everything else, my MacBook completely failed a few days ago, so it's causing us other little issues. But anyway, I will get the edit done and we'll get it up. But it was beautiful. We were sat under the sakura, under the cherry blossoms, having snacks. But the other day I was in a different supermarket. I saw more snacks. There was these banana. What are they? Are they just banana?
Easter Kit Kats.
So they're Easter break Kit Kats, banana Kit Kats, and there were these kind of cool. I don't know what they are. They're peach. Have a look at those. They're a peach. They look to be like, if you look really closely, like a Jello. Thank you, Jan. You're back. Sorry about the McDonald's meltdown, Jan. Michelle and I were a bit frustrated, to be honest, and we weren't in the best of moods. And on the walk back, we sort of like mellowed down a bit and said we should get online and say hello to, because everyone came in with such good intentions, and then McDonald's let us down. But anyway, it happens. And then I said, oh, we got those nice snacks. The other day we were in a little supermarket and we were picking up all these, saying, oh, I haven't seen these before. Look at these. They're a peach. I'm going to get a coffee on the brew. Yes, Byron won't be here today though, Kelly. He's actually gone to his sister's for Papa Joe's. He's gone for pizza at his sister's. So he won't be here, but he'll probably see this later on. So I'm walking along and I'm seeing things like, look at this. Is that in mirror to you guys? Can you read that? It says Hobel, and it's got beautiful caramel dripping out of it.
That's the right way.
It's the right way. Michelle's confirmed for us. So, and then I saw these noir black cocoa sticks, and they look to be my favorite. Who likes rum and raisin? You see there, rum and raisin. These are like, they're like this sort of Tule sticks, a bit like a Pocky stick, but inside out Pocky stick. So they're filled in the inside with a Pocky stick on the outside. And when I saw these ones were rum and raisin, I said, oh, I've got to get those. I love rum and raisin. Michelle, as soon as she, yeah, almond chocolates. These are like an almond chocolate, but they actually have, they look to have a beautiful sort of like a caramel in the center. So just everything in the shops here. I'm going to do loads of Japanese snack videos, but we might as well do this one live. Okay, look, if there were these four things on the side, which would you choose? Banana Kit Kats, peach sort of gummies. They're like a peach. They're if you look at them, they look to be like clear, like a jello with a little bits of peach inside. Can you see that? Where's the camera? Almond caramel chocolates filled with gooey chocolate, or rum and raisin, little sort of hollowed out. Which would you choose? Huh?
Kelly says the banana Kit Kat.
Kelly says banana Kit Kat.
Do you want your hot water?
I will have hot water, Michelle. Now the next thing I want to show you, this is kind of cool. Right now at this very moment, I go for the peachy gummies. You've had enough chocolate for the day. Who's that? Audio Cancer. All right. Coffee here in Japan has been hit and miss. We've really struggled to sort of find a coffee. The coffee out is quite nice, but they do drink a lot of the instant coffee. But we found just the other day, a friend of ours, an American friend we met, said, have you tried these drip-ons? And I said, well, no, I've never even heard of them. Who's heard of drip-ons? What they are, for those of you that haven't heard, I got a packet of different coloured ones. So Michelle and I are going to try all the different colours and see if any of them taste any good. So anyone heard of them? A drip-on. What they basically are is you get your cup and you've got, it's like a filtered coffee. So did anyone say they'd heard of them?
No, not yet. No. We've got the banana Kit Kats, the peachy gummies, and the almond caramel. So that means you can have them all.
Is that what people have said?
Yes.
So I can try them all.
Yeah.
So the drip-on coffees, I'm not seeing the comments, Michelle, they're staying on the screen really short, but one just popped up and I missed it.
Well, that was just Jan. If I wasn't allergic to chocolate, I'd take the chocolate.
Oh. Yeah, I'd go for them all. I'm going to go for them all anyway. So what you've got is, it's got instructions on the back. For those of you that like reading instructions. But the first thing you do is you take the plastic packet and you peel it like that. You peel it open. That gives you a little slit. Inside, you've got this weird little strange, like it looks like a tea bag. And it smells good. Oh, focus is going on the camera. Looks like a tea bag. And then what you're supposed to do is kind of peel it open. So you peel these two sides open. And it opens up. I'm going to push these little sides in.
Oh, I can smell it.
You can smell that? It's nice, isn't it? And you get this little coffee pouch. You've got to bend those little tabs in. It's like a little origami set every time you want a cup of coffee. So you bend these little sides in. I should have tucked those ones back in on themselves. Okay, so you end up with a fairly rigid little pouch. It's got coffee inside. You pop that onto your cup. Dean, you asked that in the comments yesterday. When we got the Korean snacks, I'll answer it now. It's a good time to answer it. When we got the Korean snacks, it was getting near to the end of the time when we were in Korea. We just ran out of time, so we had to drag those Korean snacks with us here to Japan. And it was really hard because there were some really nice snacks there. We got a big, so we had this bag of snacks. Everything's a bit fragile, you can imagine, right? So we've got all these sort of like, there were these peanuts and chips and all sorts of things. So we dragged them with us here, and we filmed it the other day under the sakura, and I've just edited it. It'll be up soon, Dean. So I had to eat my Korean snacks here in Japan. So sorry, I did say when I went around the supermarket that I was going to put that up next, but I think I also put some text up because I realized we weren't going to have time. So I've ended up having to have my Korean snacks here in Japan.
Possibly we'll do next.
Oh, and it's going to be it's a bit of a fail video. Oh, you'll see. Something went wrong, and something went wrong on the Korean snacks, very wrong. And it was a bit like today's McDonald's debacle, really. Something went wrong. Problem is, we're in Japan now. We can't just go out and get and re-get the product. So it's kind of funny. It works. So then when you've got your little drip on coffee, you get your little hot kettle and you pour it in.
Sam says similar to American filtered drip coffee, but in individual servings.
Yeah, little individual servings. Can you see that? So I just pour a little bit of hot water in there. And it drips down into the cup. It does drip. Is that focusing? No, not really.
So, no, it's gone out focusing.
There we go. So, and you just keep topping it up. Right near to the top. So you just...
So Dean just says, sorry for repeating the question.
No, that's all right, Dean. I wanted to answer it, but I actually thought I'd probably answer it today on the live show. On the live show that should have been at McDonald's if they'd kept their internet on. 30 minutes we had the internet off. Michelle and I sat there with with our McDonald's breakfast going cold on the side. Of course, we couldn't enjoy anything because we were busy trying to find an internet connection. Now, I've got a lot of questions about the internet connections. The Wi-Fi here in Japan has been fantastic. You can get Wi-Fi on the streets. You can get Wi-Fi at 7-Elevens. There's free city Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi in McDonald's has been perfect. We tested it. I have no idea. This is just what we call Sod's Law or Murphy's Law. Why today, when we got up at 6:30 this morning, which is not like us. We were kind of tired, and so we got up nice and early so we'd be fresh. We went down to McDonald's, set it all up, had a terrible time connecting to the internet. That's why I started 2 minutes late. Had a terrible time connecting. There was obviously something wrong off the bat, and then we got the show up and running. I think 3 minutes in, and it just completely switched off. There was no McDonald's Wi-Fi on the. Oh, Michelle, would you take that? I've overdone it.
Getting carried away.
And just pull it straight out. It'll. I'm sat talking to you. I've overfilled it. You've got to stop on the drip coffee. Thank you, sweetheart. You've got to stop before you get to the top. So anyway, so yeah, that McDonald's thing, that was just a bummer, and we were feeling pretty grouchy. I was feeling pretty grouchy. So there, I'm going to add a little milk in with this, my drip coffee. You can see the sort of strength. You can see I'll add a little more milk in.
Which one did you go for?
I don't know, what flavour was it?
What flavour? Royal taste.
Royal taste. So quite universally, I've gone for royal taste. Will you grab me a teaspoon, Michelle? I'm going to be honest. Mostly drip coffee tastes the same to me. I much prefer an espresso shot than drip coffee, but at least this is fresh coffee. It's not instant.
So Uncle Kid said, "What is?
All right.
Does it smell alright?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
He says, "What is one of the worst places you have eaten at, and why?"
Oh, worst places I've eaten at. Places or foods? I'm guessing you mean places. Today at McDonald's. I think that's the worst eating experience I've had because it was stressful. Because I was hoping to share with you all, and it was meant to be fun because it was Byron's birthday. That was the most, and I didn't, the food we didn't enjoy even in the slightest.
Dean says, I personally think Wi-Fi should be available 100% in the world and better coverage with modern technology and 5G coming soon. Hopefully it will improve everything.
Hey, 5G has come in Korea, I think. Just after we left, I saw a notice that they've released 5G in Korea. So that would have been interesting because my phone's compatible with 5G. Yeah. So I believe probably only in Seoul, Dean, from what Seoul. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe 5G is available.
I think Korea actually was quite countrywide. It was America that was only a couple of places.
Yeah, I think also in parts of the USA, but just in some of the bigger cities. But I think Korea is the first one. The Korean internet was fantastic. Never had any issues there, but then we never tried to live stream from McDonald's. It was a good idea, wasn't it, this morning?
Yeah, getting up early to do that.
So what are we going to start with first? We're going to go with rum and raisin. Oh, these are nice and heavy. Chocolate, peaches, or banana Kit Kats. Michelle's going to read the comments and I'll let Michelle decide.
So Dean says, absolutely, coffee has got to taste right to begin with. Ruth says, I have 5. So I don't know where Ruth is.
Jenksel wants chocolate.
Dean wants rum and raisin.
Come on, give me some more rum and raisins. I want the rum and raisin. Well, yeah, vote rum and raisin.
We've only got 2 at the moment, so the next one
that says we'll go with it.
Whatever goes best with fresh coffee.
It all goes good with fresh coffee.
So Ruth is in Indiana and has 5G.
You have 5G in Indiana. Well, I don't think we've got it in Japan yet. And I'm not sure that it's
rum and raisin.
Oh, thank you, Kelly, you sweetheart. So I'm going to go with the rum and raisin, whatever these are. It says open here, so I was going to naturally open at the bottom.
So Stacey Ann said, hello, just saw this. I'm lucky I came on in time.
Yes, well, we're lucky to have you here. Who was that?
Stacey Ann Crickshank.
Hey, Stacey. Let me just move that camera back a little bit, see if I can't get a little more wider angle.
So Dean said, I had the most unusual coffee yesterday, which was coffee Coke.
Coffee Coke? Oh.
Well, I had that, what was it? Coke, we had the strawberry.
Strawberry Coke. Michelle had...
Strawberry coffee. Strawberry coffee.
Oh, that was just strawberry, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Michelle had strawberry coffee the other day, which was kind of good, a little bit sort of like, maybe it wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't that good.
So
Stacey Ann's from Jamaica.
Hey, Stacey Ann. Oh, these are little packets. Let's get them open. See if I can smell. Yes, I get the smell of rum and raisin, Dean.
Stacey Ann wants a shout out.
Stacey Ann, you've got your shout out. Have you got a YouTube channel there then, Stacey Ann? Yeah, Dean, take one. I'll take one for you. Oh yeah, that's like dark molasses. Like it's got a good smell, like a dark molasses. The light keeps coming in and out from that, doesn't it? A little bit. I'll pull it over.
Shall I get the other one?
No, it's okay.
Uncle Kid says in hospital at the moment, and this is a great distraction. Thanks a lot.
Oh, Uncle Kid, hope everything's going well.
And Dean says, don't mind if I do, thanks.
Oh.
Audio Cancer says, stop tantalising us.
You know, I feel like I could, it's like a straw. I could drink coffee through that. I wonder if I could Tim Tam slam this.
That's going to be very hot, that coffee.
Thank you, Michelle. Michelle's looking after me.
Stacey Ann says, I love those. Have you got them?
I'll let the coffee cool down. I'm going to try and slam it. It should cool down by the time it comes up the straw, don't you think? We'll give it a try. So we're going in. It's got a nice clear hole through the middle. It's lovely. I like the taste of this. Nothing's up, Stacey Ann. Well, apart from this morning. It works as a straw. Coffee came straight up, but it didn't melt like a Tim Tam.
No. It's too big a hole.
Want to try one, Michelle? You can have Dean's.
I thought I had another packet. Oh, You smell rum and raisin.
They do, don't they? Like quite dark, almost licoricey dark. You know, I'm not a big licorice fan, but it's getting really dark.
Well, they're Oreo dark, aren't they? That's all. Dean says coffee with a hint of rum and raisin. Why not?
Yeah, and what you're getting... Oh, what did the snacks cost? I don't know. They weren't too bad, but I don't know. I don't think we kept a record of them either.
No, we have to remember, because once the receipt comes, we've no idea, because it's all in Japanese.
And we've got an example of a receipt. No, the receipts are a complete mess. There's not a dot of English on them.
This is the receipt.
Oh, is that the receipt
That is
for
the
this?
receipt.
Okay, this is the receipt for this. There it is.
There you are.
So there you can work that out.
One of those prices.
One of those prices. Something was
I think the Kit Kat
200 yen, which is about
just under.
$2, maybe about $2. Something was about 75 yen, which is about 75 cents. I'm doing US dollars, by the way. Something was about $1, something was about $1, and something was almost $3.
That'll be the Kit Kats.
So I reckon the Kit Kat packs were about $3, and the rest of them were all around $1. These might have been about $2, but it could have also been these. I'm not sure. Or it might have even been. I don't know. One's not super expensive. Now, what was the second choice? Was it Jan that said about the peachy ones? Well, these are nice.
I think so.
Not really strong. You know what would just make these perfect is just to dip them in a bit of chocolate, because they've got cocoa, they got the rum and raisin. You can drink your coffee through it. Absolutely, for sure.
Janksel said about the chocolate, and Jan said she'd have the chocolate if she wasn't allergic to it.
Okay, in that case, Jan, because it would go really nicely with the coffee, I'm going to go with the chocolate. Didn't take much. So looks like it's a pull-up lid here. Another packet. Okay. Then not that we've had any snacks in Japan. Yes, we have lots. It looks like one of those with they're on a tray.
Oh yeah.
So it looks like there's a sort of like a flat tray, and which is a good way of giving you less sweets.
So you've probably got about 4 in there.
So the open tear is across here. Okay. And then you're getting a little tray. This is how they often come in Japan. Like a little tray.
Oh, they look pretty.
And inside, perfectly lined out in true traditional Japanese order, are these lovely little chocolates. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat all 8 of these on camera, because I think Michelle would throw something at me.
Yes.
You want the first one? You go first.
Take my own, thank you.
Take your own, thank you. Go on in. You have a bite. Let me know what you think. I know she's off camera. Sorry about this.
It's a Rolo.
Is it a Rolo?
No, not quite.
Is it a Rolo?
No, not quite.
I'm not going to turn the camera around. The bed's not made yet. We're in a tiny little Japanese studio. I must do a show around this studio at some point. It's really good. Got one of those cool little Japanese toilets that wash your bum and do all the sort of stuff that toilets in Japan do. Got a cool little feature in the bathroom. You got a washing machine out there. You can wash all your clothes, and then you can hang it in the bathroom, and there's like a heated system that dries your clothes, which is really cool. So here we go. I'm sorry you can't have them, Jan. Oh, I like a Rolo.
They are, and then you get another taste. I don't get almond then.
I do get a little almond in. Was it Mickey Petrie says thank you. What was that? Was it because I went for the chocolate?
That was
They're nice. Oh, a bit of coffee.
no, Stacey says thank you to Petrie because Petrie said I hope you're feeling better, Stacey, because Stacey's sick. Everybody's sick.
Everybody's sick. I'm going for another one of those. Do you want another one, Michelle?
Yes. Oh.
You have to cut.
I let my hand in. What does it say on it? Oh, is it H? H.
So they're very much like
big Rolos.
They're very much like the packet. Really, there's no sort of rip-off photos. The chocolate's nice. It's close to Cadbury's chocolate. It's a good chocolate. If you're gauging Cadbury's as a good chocolate. Oh, nice. I've got to break one in half. They kind of, with a little bitterness that's, I think, coming from the almond or something.
I think that's what it is.
That is nice. I like those. I'm hoping they're one of the $1 ones. Because I buy those every day. Okay, I'm going to bite this one in half so you can see inside. See, it kind of collapses. The bottom is quite thin. Let me just focus there.
So Kelly says, wish we could taste those chocolates, Steve. Curious question, what do they taste like?
They taste delicious, Kelly.
Very
the top,
sweet,
very strange, because the top of them is really got thick chocolate, but the bottom's got a tiny thin, almost as if they've made them upside down and then put a little skim of chocolate on the bottom. So when you bite them, the bottom completely collapses.
Very sweet, aren't they?
And it's really melty chocolate. So you get, they do look, and they taste like Rolos, Petrie, but they actually taste like Rolos that of the caramel's much runnier. Let me just get a little tissue out of here. Just clean my hands. So the caramel is much thinner, but really quite rich. Probably even richer than a Rolo, I'd say.
I think so.
I couldn't eat, I could eat a whole big box of Rolos.
I was thinking the same.
But they're all already feeling a little bit sickly. So now the other thing that what I'm going to do next is these Kit Kats. Have you ever seen banana? I've never seen banana Kit Kats. And I think it's a special one for Easter. Now, unfortunately, these bags look huge, but there are not many in them. So you open the bag up, and inside you get right down the bottom, about down here, you get some small, little tiny Kit Kats. You know how sometimes you go to the supermarket and you buy sort of fun-sized Mars bars? When we were kids, you used to buy fun-sized Mars bars. You get them in a bag and you could barely drag them home. They were so heavy. And now you buy a bag of fun-sized Mars bars from the supermarket, and it's empty. You know, you open up the bag and there's 4 in there. That's the way it is in Australia. I don't know if it's the same everywhere else in the world, but they're getting smaller and smaller. Well, these Kit Kats are a little bit like that. There's not a lot of them in there.
Audio cancer, so like I get a toothache just from looking at the bag.
Yeah.
Stacey Ann says, Kit Kat.
Banana Kit Kat. It's a special one for Easter. Is it Easter tomorrow? Easter Sunday?
Yes.
Happy Easter, everyone. I hadn't realised it was getting so close to Easter. So it's a special Easter one. Pretty little thing.
And Ruth says, my sister bought me Russell Stover's chocolates for my birthday. They're really good.
Oh, yum. I haven't tried those.
No.
One day, Russell Stover's chocolates. So I'm going to...
Have you got a little bunny on that?
Yeah, I showed it very closely to everyone. See, Michelle's not paying attention.
I'm reading the comments.
There is the Kit Kat.
White one.
It's not a white one, it's a yellow one. It's banana flavoured. and it is slightly yellow. You can probably see if you hold something white towards it. Okay. Oh, that's got that banana. Now that banana, artificial banana taste. Michelle's going to take one. Okay.
Ah.
I look like a running.
You do. I've got a different bunny on mine.
Michelle's bunny's different. So they're all different packages. And they've probably got different sayings. If anyone can read Japanese. Oh, that is nice. What is it we used to have that tastes like that? Oh, the banana milk.
Oh,
you know the banana milkshake powder that you used to get?
Yes, Nesquik.
Yes. Do Nestle make these? Yeah. You see Nestle? It's Nestle. I bet you they're using the banana Nesquik because it tastes like banana Nesquik. With that slightly waxy white chocolate.
Dean just said, I just found out all the funky Kit Kat flavours they do in Japan.
Dean, you wouldn't believe it. When we look at the, even just, I know, I'll get rid of it in a minute. Even when you look at the matcha tea, which is not my favourite Kit Kat, to be honest. I think they've got about 3 different versions of matcha tea, just in the Kit Kat brand. In the taste tests, the Japanese taste tests, we got some that were like, had little crumbly raspberries or what?
It was fruit? The ruby chocolate, wasn't it?
It was ruby chocolate, but it had chunks of a fruit in it.
Yeah. We weren't sure quite what the fruit was.
Yes, we were. It's written on the packet. Aired there, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Michelle doesn't remember it. It was a few days ago. But it was a Kit Kat. You can Google it. I'm pretty sure it had like, instead of being plain, let me get another Kit Kat out, just because I can. Instead of it being, oh, hang on, different colour, different picture. Instead of it being plain like that on top of the Kit Kat, it had all little chunks of fruit on top of it. But they were like little bite-sized Kit Kats. They were really nice. I don't remember what I scored it on the taste test, but I thought they were pretty good. Look at the Easter bunny. Anyway. Don't worry about it. It's not fun.
So Petri said, I find it funny. I love all the flavours of Kit Kats that I've tried, except for the original flavour. Maybe I've received some stale Kit Kats when I was younger.
Maybe. I think when I was younger, I had a bad Kit Kat.
They're not good when they're stale.
Not one of those ones where they've sort of where the chocolate's all separated. I don't know if that still happens, but it used to happen a lot. You sometimes used to get Kit Kat and all the chocolate had oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Oxidise.
Yeah, it's not though. It's what do they call it when it blooms, doesn't it? Yep, thumbs up for everything so far. If I were to give them a score, I'd say these were really nice, but I'd like to see some chocolate on them. And if they had chocolate on them, they'd be a 10 out of 10. As they are, I'm going to give them 7 because they were really good. These almond ones, absolutely yummy. I mean, they're close to a 10. I think they could probably be a 10. I could eat those all day. Even the chocolate on those was nice. The Kit Kats, they were a lot of fun. Just the fun factor alone, they've got to be an 8, 8.5. Not the best Kit Kats. A little bit too waxy. I prefer the milk chocolate coating on a Kit Kat. And last, bought the coffee. I give that a 5 out of 10. It's not strong enough for me. I like a nice espresso shot with some milk in it. but it's good coffee. Give you the caffeine hit that you need in the morning. High hopes for these. I do need something salty. Sam, hello. I do need something salty, but I don't think I've got anything salty.
No.
We're going to be sweet all the way, but I am going for something a little bit different. These are Jello.
Petri said the Kit Kats I got, the wafer part was stale. The matcha Kit Kats took some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You see, I'm not a big matcha tea fan. I used to drink a lot of tea when I was younger. I don't drink as much tea now. And matcha tea is basically green tea that's been ground into a fine powder. So you're getting all that sort of silt and slurry that's in the green tea. It just doesn't get it for me. I keep trying stuff. I'm not getting. A lot of my friends are big matcha fans, love matcha. I can't quite get it.
Harold Finch says, hi Steve.
Hey Harold.
Harold, yeah.
So look at these ones. They're not clear. They're actually more like a Milko. Remember the little milk?
I like the milk bottles.
Like the little milk bottles that you used to get. So they look more like a milk bottle Jello. They're soft, squeezy, and they've got chunks of hopefully something that's going to taste. So you see on the packaging, I don't know why I thought they were translucent, but they actually are just like the packets, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not far off. So they're at. Wow! Smell that, Michelle. Really strong peach perfume.
Nice.
Artificial peach. I mean, no, quite a real peach smell actually.
Yeah, real peach.
Oh, got a feeling these are going to taste nice. If they taste as good as they smell. Wait, I'm looking at Michelle's face. Let's go for it. Oh, I like that. I like that taste.
It took a little while for the peach to come through, but it's nice.
I just sucked it briefly.
So Petri says, I think as a personal preference, I love it, but I know some people who don't care for it. I like it because it's not too sweet.
What is that?
The matcha. Matcha, sorry, a bit confused.
Yes, well it can be. I mean, certainly in Kit Kats it's still sweet, but I don't know. I'm not getting it. I'm here in Japan for a little while. We're probably going to stay here if we can for at least a month, maybe even longer, if the food and that excites us long enough, which it already is doing, by the way. So look forward to lots of fun stuff in Japan. I think we're going to have a good time here. These are really nice. I mean, unfortunately, they're a tiny packet, so you're not going to get a lot of joy out of them. Michelle told me how she wants another one.
We can't get the flavour from one.
You can't?
No.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So maybe I should eat two together. You just did two, did you? Come around here and say good morning to everyone. Michelle's being greedy. She's eating two.
There's wires there.
There she is.
Hello, everybody.
She did the double.
I did the double. They are very nice, guys. I like gummies though.
Yeah, they are. They're. Oh, I can't think what they remind me of. Something they remind me of.
The flavour's very good. I do like the peach on it because that's an unusual flavour to have.
Yeah. But there's something else that reminds me of something. It's a little bit like when you get the Jello cubes that you get for making jelly.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit like those jelly cubes, but it's softer.
So Petri says, are you going to try out the Kobe beef while you're there?
I think we'll try out most things, to be honest. I mean, I tend to be one who. Somebody said to me this morning, am I going to try out the fire noodles? Well, the fire noodles here come from a different prefecture in Japan. Where we are at the moment is in Fukuoka, which I can say, by the way, now. Fukuoka. And they are famous for tonkotsu ramen. Tonkotsu ramen is a Japanese ramen that's served in a really rich stock. So it's made, the broth that the ramen is served in is a pork bone broth. So they boil the pork bones down with, I think, a few vegetables and things in there, and they make this really, really rich stock, which is creamy, very thick and creamy. Not thick and creamy, but much thicker than a traditional ramen stock. And they serve the ramen in these in the bowl with this stock and pork, like slices of pork on top. Just not a lot of pork, just a little bit, so you've got some meat on there. And it's a barbecued pork, so they cook it on a little open grill, and then they lay it on top of the tonkotsu ramen with a little bit of seasoning, possibly some chives, and it is delicious. So that is the ramen that is famous in this area where we are now. Some of the other foods that are famous around here are like the motsunabe. Motsu is like it's going to be an acquired taste. It's the innards, the sort of the guts, not the gut, the intestines of, and I'm not sure. Maybe Michelle could Google it for me to see if I think it's pork again. I think motsunabe is mainly sort of pork innards, so it's sort of the intestinal side of that, done in like a stock pot. So it's a bit like a
Beef
hot.
or pork.
Can be beef or pork. Okay, so it can be beef or pork. It's done on a stock pot. They put it on the table on a heater, and it's got all sorts of vegetables in with it in a big stock, and you enjoy this pot. But motsunabe is not really, because it's very rich, it's not just to do with the motsunabe, it's to do with the little plates of dishes that they serve with it. So when you go to a motsunabe restaurant, which we've not really been to a proper one yet, but we've been doing a bit of research, and we've been into several of them. You get these little dishes that you get served, little sort of salty dishes, maybe some sort of fried pork or things like that, or maybe some fish dishes. So that I'm really looking forward to filming and sharing with you. There's a few other, I mean, it's quite famous, this area here where we are, which is the southern tip of Japan, quite famous for its tempura. So I think we'll be looking at some nice tempura here.
Dean says keep a lookout for squid ink flavour ice cream.
Okay, will do.
Seaweed, soy, wasabi, as Japan are famous for the unusual flavours.
Now there's an area near here, Dean, that's famous for the, no, not near here, it's further north. Seems to be quite famous for doing the ice cream with gold leaf on it. So they serve you like a whipped ice cream, and they put gold leaf, so it's quite extravagant. And I have seen them serving it here in one of the big stores, but it's not really a tradition for this area, so I don't really want to try it here. I might, if we're lucky and we get to do a bit of touring. One of the problems we have in Japan is, as a lot of you know, Japan is quite an expensive country to visit, and accommodation is super expensive, and food is not really expensive. I mean, it's not cheap. It's not like other parts of Asia where you can sort of get big meals for dollars. It's probably on a par with the cost of food in Australia, and possibly in some of the more expensive cities in the US. So it isn't cheap to eat out. So you can very, very quickly burn through your money here in Japan. I think it's going to be a hard one for us to sort of kind of budget for. But one of the more expensive, and I know people are going to give me tips on this, but we've done quite a bit of research. One of the more expensive things is just getting around. I mean, traveling here, renting vehicles is really difficult. They don't particularly, I don't think they have a strong rental market. And even if you can rent a vehicle, just here in the city where we are, parking is like impossible. Everything costs a lot of money to park, so it's hard then to find parking. And just to go to some of the areas, we'd like to go and visit some of the hot springs nearby. It might cost us like $200 per person just to go there and back. So that's $400 off the bat just to go and visit this place. That's only getting there and getting back. There are some day passes, I think, which you can kind of some sort of. There's still $75 US, which is $100 Australian. So that's 200 for the two of us. It's expensive. So that's the only area where we're struggling with, trying to find a way of doing as much of Japan as possible without completely busting our budget, so to speak. But we're going to make the best of it. So we're going to try and see as much. But we're lucky, I think, that we came here to Fukuoka. There's some fantastic food here, don't you think?
There is.
Yeah.
Yes.
But some of the things, like the fire noodles that somebody suggested to me on the comments this morning, they're much further north. I would love to go to Kyoto, so we might try and get to Kyoto while we're here. A lot of people will ask me if we're going to Tokyo. There's no big plans to go to Tokyo. It's like if I was going to France, probably about the only place I wouldn't overly be bothered about visiting would be Paris. I just think there are so many beautiful, beautiful towns in France, and Paris is okay. It's where all the tourists go, and I think when you come to Japan, likewise, everybody goes to Tokyo, but the real Japan is not in Tokyo. It's if you want to experience the culture and the people and the friendliness of Japan, I think you've got to go to other places. So yeah, it's just finding a place. We've got a little apartment here that we've rented. It's tiny, but it's got everything we need in here. It's kind of perfect, but it's costing a lot of money to rent and getting around. But we're determined to make this get the best experience to share with everybody. So any tips are most welcome. If you've got any ideas, places you want us to visit, types of foods, you know, you were just saying about the squid ink ice cream. If I see it, I'll definitely do. The seafood around here is great. I'm trying to find out what, you know, I've got a sweet tooth. I like sweet things. And I'm going to have another one of these Rolo. They're not called Rolos, they're called Hobel.
That's why it's got H on it.
Yeah, Hobel. Which I was thought in some way looked like Rolo, but it doesn't.
No way.
So I'm going to put one of these in my mouth and just let it melt for a moment. Then I'm going to have some coffee. So now's the time to ask you questions.
Well, Kelly wants to know, speaking of gold leaf, Steve, have they done like those caramel slices, what you've done on the other video? I think you'd ask if they're here in Japan. Don't think so.
Keep them coming.
Dean says, wow. No Rat Cap says, please visit. Please visit where? Please visit Nara and Osaka.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dean says, I like sushi.
Mm. I don't want to spoil this. I'm saving that for Michelle.
Is that yours? Last one. That means you had more than me.
I always give Michelle my last Rolo.
So Audio Cancer says, what's the cost for the apartment you're renting? Oh, it's finished.
So those questions are great. Let me just savour this last bit of chocolate. It's just melting on my tongue. That's so good.
And Mrs. K. Jones wants to know, have you mailed out a lot of postcards?
No, not a single postcard. It would be a nice thing to do, Mrs. K. Jones, but we've been travelling for 4 years, over 4 years now, and if we sent postcards from everywhere we went, we'd spend most of the time in the post office. So no, we don't. These are our postcards, so families and friends can see where we are and what we're up to. Many questions there. There was
the cost for the apartment we're renting.
The cost for the apartment is we got a very good deal on this apartment compared to what it's advertised for. But you're probably going to have to pay somewhere, if you were here as a tourist, like you're going to have to budget around 150,000 if you're lucky, Japanese yen, if you're lucky. We got a slightly better deal, but that's because I kind of make friends with everybody that I meet. So what is that? 150,000 yen. So it's
15,000.
it's not cheap.
1,500 US.
About a 1,500 US. It's not cheap, but it's not super expensive. But if you were doing this apartment on a sort of on its daily rate, you would be probably looking closer to sort of $3,500, maybe even $4,000 a month, if you were doing it on a daily rate. So you can imagine when you're paying those sort of figures, if you're doing it per month, that's a very, I mean, you can get a really nice house in Australia for those sort of prices. So we've got a much better deal than that. But I'm not going to share exactly the figure because I can't, because I promised the guy here that I will not, because you won't get this rate, but you might get around 1,500 US dollars if you're lucky. What was the other question? You did some 2 or 3 good questions.
Oh, someone said visit Nara and Osaka.
We had huge plans to go to Osaka, but because a friend in Osaka, I would like to go there. Some people have told me it's not the prettiest of towns, and that we should concentrate on going to places like Kyoto and maybe some of the other cities. I would like to go to smaller towns. I want to go to Beppu. Beppu is not far from us, about $200 round trip each. So yeah, that's only a couple of hours away from here. There's a lot of places. There's so much to see in Japan. We've already filmed some nice little episodes since we've been here, and I'll get those up as soon as possible.
To get your laptop.
My laptop died. You know, my laptop is just a brick now. I took it into Mac. Luckily we've got a Mac, a genuine Mac center just here, and they gave me an idea that it could cost anywhere from a couple of $100 to $2,000 to fix, but once they start doing it, they weren't going to sort of stop. So you might end up paying, I think the minimum case scenario was around about $800, and that didn't guarantee it. So I'm not willing to spend $2,000 to fix it.
And they wanted to keep it a couple of weeks.
And they wanted to keep it 2 weeks, which meant I had no laptop to edit videos with. So kindly, Michelle's lending me her laptop to do the editing. It'll be a bit slower, a bit harder. Couldn't have happened at a worse time because we just caught up with ourselves. So these things happen. So yeah, the MacBook, only 3 years old. That MacBook has been a constant bane to me. It's a super expensive piece of equipment, but we've had to have the battery replaced in 3 years. We've had the charger. You know, if anyone's got a MacBook, the chargers tend to just shred after about 3 to 6 months, I think. And you have to tape them up and what have you. So for now, for the whole thing to have gone, that's a little bit of a bummer.
WJ Chew 1 says, could you adjust your sound louder? But I think it's possibly their sound.
I think it might be yours. You'll probably have to put it up, because generally when I do it off of this phone, it's loud enough.
So Dean says, call it a Jolo, as in Japanese Rolo.
A Jolo.
And Ruby says, how long have you been on? 53 minutes, Ruby.
Hey Ruby, now can anyone else just confirm if the sound's okay? Because then I can just because there's nothing I can adjust on the sound, it's a phone.
Audio Kansas says, considering the value for money of the accommodation in Japan versus Bali, how does it make you feel?
Bali was super good value, wasn't it? Look, it's when I first got here, I thought, wow, this is going to really drain the funds.
Everyone's saying the sound is fine.
Yeah, so I think it's just turn your sound up. I'm sorry, it should be fine. There's no volume adjustment on phones when you do these live shows. So Bali the food was great, the people were great, the costs were super low, and we had a ball in Bali. As when we arrived in South Korea, we thought, oh, things have gone up a lot in cost. And when we got here in Japan, we said, okay, this is the new sort of line for us to sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? The new baseline. So costs are high, but I'm determined not to let that stifle the journey, because how often this is my first time to Japan, how often will we get a chance to be here? So we're just going to try and sort of like have as much fun and try not to burn through too much cash. Certainly YouTube earnings are not going to cover 4 or 5 days if I'm lucky. So it's going to be an expensive stop, but we've accepted that's part of it. So we're just going to have some fun, make the most of it, enjoy it. Who would like, by the way, to have some meditation with Steve? This is something I was thinking of filming. I like to go out sometimes and just relax somewhere in a park or something like that. And I was wondering whether we should do just a once a week, maybe once a month, a sort of mindfulness video where we just go outside, have a little chat with you, do a bit of meditation, a bit of soft music, and just try and encourage you all to sort of, meditation. Just not as part of the regular thing on the channel, but just as a sort of maybe bit of fun. I might try it, take you out on where we were the other day. You're going to see it probably in the next few days, the Korean snacks. We had a nightmare. I mean, there was a problem there. You'll see in the video. And I was going to go back to that place to meditate, because I think it would be a good place to kind of remember how stressful it was. Not really stressful, not stressful in a way that some people have stress, but and use that as a place. So I don't know who
Audio Cancer says live meditation ?
Not live, but
real time. No.
I
don't know.
Who'd be interested?
Whip Antenna says
who needs to chill and get some peace in their days?
If you can incorporate meditation into your cooking videos, that would be fun.
Meditate on a porridge, on the skin of a rice pudding.
Mona says, hello darlings, how are you both? Meditation sounds great. And Petri says, I'd be open to it, see what you're talking about. Yeah,
okay. Well, it's hard for me to describe. I think probably I should do it and just see whether or not you guys enjoy it. It's just sort of showing how we keep ourselves calm in this crazy world that we're in, and how, I think life in general, it can be quite stressful for a lot of people. So anything that sort of lets you unwind, and if I can share a few tips on that, because this last few days have been a bit trying with this.
Audio Cancer says we all need to chill.
We do.
And
get in the fridge.
Kelly says meditation sounds like a good idea. It will alleviate stress.
Yes. Mindfulness meditation, Kelly. Just getting in the zone, going to a place that's busy with crowds of people, and learning to just sort of let everything sort of, get into the zone. And maybe I could take some of you along with me when I do it, and just if you're in the mood for it, maybe once a week, just find a little quiet place, sit down, and just let some of that stuff.
Well, Whip Antenna says it would be nice to see you filming some natural environments and calming during your travels.
Yeah, it's an evolving thing, isn't it, this YouTube? I sometimes see somebody doing something and I think, oh, that's nice, just the sound of nature and this, that's nice. I wouldn't mind doing that. We can't do everything, we can't do everything on the channel, so we're this current chapter in our life, it's about sharing the journey and sharing the experiences we're having. Whoops, I'm out of focus. Sharing the experiences that we're having with you, because I really want you to see the beauty of the world and the beauty of people that we meet. And it's wonderful. I mean, we've traveled now for a long time, and I say 4 years, it's been longer than that really. Michelle and I have traveled most of our lives, and I see so many beautiful things, and I think it's time we tried to get that across in our videos, and I hope I'm doing it, and I know that we'll get better at it as it goes along. And occasionally lots of food and snacks and chocos.
Yes, with Pantelis, going back to that, how long have you been travelling abroad now?
Since we left our home in Melbourne, Australia, we've been travelling for just over 4 years, I think it is now. What month did we set off? April. So 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, so 4 years. We've been travelling for 4 years, and we haven't done the sort of travel videos we're doing at the moment all the time, and I regret it a little bit, because we saw a lot of things that were so interesting, you know, and I've shared a lot of them. Some, you know, if you go back and look, if you want to look at the travel videos in Sicily, and didn't do enough in Sicily actually, but I think the problem was when we first started traveling, we were sharing videos a little bit like what we're doing now, but nobody wanted to watch them, so I gave up on it. We're not going to give up this time, because we're not going to force ourselves not to share what we're doing just because not many people are watching it. We're just going to do it anyway, because it's good, because what we're seeing is good, and what I want to share with people out there is worth putting up, even if it's knocked the views a little bit, and it's not as interesting maybe as chocolate cake. It's still interesting, and I think it's worth sharing. So I'm not going to let myself be disappointed by YouTube algorithms. We're just going to do it. Have fun.
So No Rap Cap says, have you ever tried Japanese Wagyu A5, and if not, please film it?
Can you repeat that?
It says, have you ever tried Japanese Wagyu A5?
This is the beef Wagyu.
I think so.
No, we've not got into the Japanese beef yet, and I think probably this prefecture is not massively into their beef. So if we find it and we see it and we find the right sort of thing, we'll be doing all sorts. But forgive me if we don't get to do the Wagyu beef or Wagyu beef. If we don't get to show you it's because we haven't had that opportunity. But there's going to be so much other good stuff.
Getting quite a long list, aren't we?
Yeah. I tell you, the other day, do you know in Japan they have these Tanami? No.
Yeah.
Have I got that right? Tanami? Tatami.
It's like tsunami. It was
the old head. Tatami floors. Tatami is like a grass floor that they make, and our apartment hasn't actually got a tatami floor, much to my disappointment, but many apartments here in Japan have tatami floors, many apartments. A friend of ours was saying they're a pain in the backside because they cost a lot of money, they're very hard to maintain, and if you damage them at all, they cost a lot to fix, but they are beautiful. You know, there's sort of grass floors you see, and the little blinds. We have got a sliding door across our little bedroom here. So I'm walking around the streets just a couple of days ago, and I stumble across a tatami factory. No, not really, workshop. There's a guy, there's a youngish guy in there, and he's making tatami mats, and he was kind enough to let me film some of it. So I'm going to work out how I can put that into a video for you to see, because it was just fascinating to see the tatami making process.
And Mona's saying like fake grass.
No, it's not fake grass. It's more like where it's like a rush mat, but they cover it. What they do is they make I didn't know this until I saw the guy actually making it firsthand, but they make like a sandwich of different straws and grasses until they get to about a couple of inches thick, maybe 5 centimeters thick, and then they wrap this in a like a what did you just say a minute ago?
God, no.
They wrap it in what Michelle just said a minute ago, like a rush grass. Was it rush
No,
mat?
it wasn't what I said.
Was a rush mat, she
Rush
said.
mat, did I?
They wrap it really tight around that, and then they put a beautiful little sort of silk edging to it. So you end up with these boards that are a very specific, tatami is a very specific size. You can Google it, it's a size. Rooms in Japan are made to tatami sizes. So you can say my room is 4 tatami mats by 3 tatami mats wide. And they do make them very accurately to the tatami size, because when you put the tatami mats in, you don't want gaps. You don't want sort of the mats sliding around. So rooms, many of the bedrooms here in Japan are made to fit tatami mats. I do believe they can custom make them, but I think that's a lot more expensive. So they tend to make them to fit, and they make them very accurately. And there's a lovely smell off the tatami floors. There's sort of like a seagrass, if any of you know seagrass, which is another type of flooring they have in the West. And anyway, I stumbled across a guy making it. That's great. I want to share it with you. It's nothing to do with food, but it is fascinating. And when we come across stuff like that, and if I can even remember why I started this sentence in the first place, that's what we want to share.
So Ruth says, I'm unable to travel. I enjoy seeing parts of the world through YouTube. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Ruth. And that's the idea. I mean, it's see, Ruth, I'm just going up there because Michelle said, I enjoy seeing parts of the world through YouTube. Thank you for sharing.
Through you.
Thank you, Ruth. I heard it as through YouTube. Thank you for sharing. So I was just having a look if it was generally you enjoyed seeing it through YouTube. just my hearing, maybe not quite hearing.
So Dean said a little bit earlier on, cheap enough to buy a new laptop, as that is a ridiculous price to charge to repair.
I know.
As light as well, but buy a new one by the time you finish paying out. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, who was that?
Dean.
Dean, you know, the first thing we started looking at was, okay, is it time for me to get a new laptop? So I'm looking in the Mac, what do they call them? Mac, not Mac, Apple Store. That's right, it hasn't even got Mac in it. So I'm looking in the Apple Store, and they're showing me the very latest version of my computer. Where is my computer? Oh, it's all stripped to pieces. They're showing the latest version of my computer, and they're telling me that the model that would match my computer now, it's gone up to like $4,000 Australian. So I don't know, maybe $3,000 US. And I said to them, it's almost nothing. No improvement in 3 years. There's almost no improvement in my Macintosh and my Apple MacBook and what's available. So I would have had to spend 4,000 Australian dollars, which is a lot of money, and really not saying I want to afford, and end up with just the same computer as I had. So that didn't sit too easy either, and definitely that's not going to happen. But there is a funny little story there, Dean. I'm pretty good with computers. I used to do a lot of computer work in the past, and I can pretty much fix anything on a circuit board, even down to sort of repairing PCBs. And I've got a lot of, in my own little workshop that I used to have, I have a nice little set of board repairing equipment, heat boards, hot air soldering equipment, and the likes. This is another Steve that you don't see very often. And I could fix this computer. If I had my gear with me, I could fix this computer, absolutely no doubt at all, for probably less than sort of $30. So it frustrates me then to get told that I might have to spend a couple of $1,000s having it repaired, and I know exactly what they're going to do. They're just going to pull the pieces out and put new pieces in and send it back to you, and that's not really a repair. That's just a replacement, the components. To repair it is another thing, and it isn't too hard to do, but that's for another time.
So, Petrie's saying maybe you can get a refurbished one that's cheaper, especially if you're good at fixing computers, if you can't fix your current one.
Yeah, and the only reason I can't fix it, Petrie, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but the only reason I can't fix it is because I haven't got the tools. You do need some very specific tools to fix motherboards in computers if they've gone wrong, and it's pretty high-end equipment. I do actually have it. It's all in my little storage that back in Australia, and I haven't worn that hat for many years doing that sort of work. So yeah,
We have looked at buying a new one, but the issue is the Japanese keyboard.
and that was the other thing. Of course, that money, quite often I was getting a Japanese keyboard, which is fine. I've worked with Asian keyboards many times. I've lived in Asia before, so I don't mind them. But there's a lot of keys on a Japanese keyboard that are useless to us in the West. So I don't really want that. I don't really want like half a dozen. What they do is in order to compensate for the extra Japanese keys, they make the space bar button really small. So it's only a tiny little space bar button. And I don't really want that. So it's tricky. It's tricky. We actually saw in a local store here my machine being sold for around about $1,500 second hand. So that's an option. But again, it's a lot of money to spend to go all the way around the block and be back where you were. So we'll get there.
So Eva Fuentes says, cool, when you were talking about meditation. I'm just going back up.
Okay. Well, I think that could be, remind me to do that, Michelle.
Petrie says, would you like to check out the Japanese hot springs?
Yes, and that's, there's a lot of hot springs here in this prefecture and around us, Petrie, and I would love to. And like I say, okay, going back to when we were in Bali, Indonesia, if we wanted to go and see somewhere in Bali, we jump on a scooter and we drive down the road and go and see it, or we jump in a taxi and spend $3 and $10 maybe. But to go down to see the hot springs that aren't far from us here, the round trip is $400 for the two of us. So you've got to have, you've got to kind of plan your trips carefully here in Japan. But don't worry, we are going to do it. If I have to go there on a unicycle, I'll do it. I just can't quite bring myself. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I can't quite bring myself to chuck $400 on a bus journey for 2 hours.
Mona says, is there an embassy to help you out with the computer? I don't think the embassy would help us.
Mona, I don't think the embassy would be too bothered. If you imagine if I rock up to the Australian embassy and say, oh, my MacBook's broken, do you think you can help me? I think they'd tell me to sling my hook. But I could, it's not really that much of a disaster. I think we could involve somebody like the embassy, but it's a pretty big problem for me. I mean, luckily Michelle's got her laptop and I'm using hers, so in effect Michelle's lost her laptop, not me. But hers isn't anywhere near as powerful as mine because mine was the video editing to make these videos. We get through it. We'll have to work away. I'm glad we decided to do this live show and catch up with you all, because I was feeling really a bit miffed after the half an hour down on the Wi-Fi in McDonald's this morning. So it's good that we got on. Was there other questions?
No, I think I've caught up with everybody now.
Yeah. So we've got some snacks covered here. I'm feeling a lot better because I've had lots of sugar. I'm buzzing on a high. I've had an extra cup of coffee this morning. That wasn't too bad actually. If those of you who didn't catch it, they make these drip coffees, so you get your individual little pouches of coffee. There's only 12 in a pack, a little pouch like this, and it makes it like a little paper drip that sits on top of your cup. You pour the hot water through and you get drip coffee. Drip coffee's all right, not my favorite coffee, but it's real coffee, so it tastes good. So I've had my drip coffee. I've had some wonderful rum and raisin choco sticks. Michelle and I have had some crazy Rolos. What's that?
That's my screen.
That's back
you're
now.
back.
Michelle's screen. I thought Michelle was just about to tell me her MacBooks died. That would be fun, wouldn't it? So, and I can tell this is going to be a good journey. This Japanese journey, because we've been out and tried a few dishes. I think the Japanese food is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to take you. I'll tell you what you might enjoy. Let me know. Actually, reply to me now. The department stores here, the Daimaru, the Matsukoshi. I won't say their names. I'll get them wrong. But the big sort of Harrods type department stores have these food halls in the basement, and they're amazing. I mean, they're so amazing. You go downstairs and they've got like a fish hall, and they've got fresh produce they're making. They've got these crazy single mango. You can get a mango. It's wrapped in a bit of a sort of lace doily, and one mango, $100 US. I kid you not. No way I'm buying one of those. Their fruit is almost coddled. You would think almost you'd have to go and buy this mango, take it home, put it in a cotton, sort of like put a pacifier in its mouth. They're so expensive, some of these fruits, but they're beautifully displayed. So I wouldn't mind taking the camera into a place like Daimaru. That'd be kind of good.
Cool.
And show you around inside the stores. Anybody up for that?
While they're thinking about that, Petri says maybe the next time you visit, you'll have a hot springs in the same area with what you want to do.
We'll get there, Petri. If we got to get some bicycles and cycle there.
And Sam says, I can't believe how expensive it is to visit them. Is this with travelling on a bus to the Springs? So that was the price of the bus that you said.
That's just the bus there and back. Transport, I mean, if you want to get the bullet train from here to Tokyo, I think it's like $390 one way each. So it's like $700 for Michelle and I to go to Tokyo on the train. So you can imagine $1,400 return. You wouldn't want to do that. It's actually cheaper just to fly, but then you've got to be committed to stay in Tokyo. And so there's a lot of little issues, but we'll work through them. Don't worry about it. Unless anyone sort of comes up with a good idea, or they've got some rich auntie that sort of wants to sort of leave a big chunk of travel money. But getting around is going to be a little bit of an issue as far as we can see, and we've been here for a little while now, sort of working out what we've decided to do. Basically is I think locating ourselves in one place and doing as much exploring as possible is always the best way for Michelle and I. We get to see people. We're already discovering all sorts of cool little things, and so we'll probably spend, I reckon we'll spend a month here, maybe a little longer, and then we'll head to another area and try to find a similar sort of apartment or somewhere to stop. So we might try to do 2 or 3 regions of Japan if we can, and then we're going to go somewhere else, and then we're going to try and go somewhere a little bit less expensive so we can sort of like catch up with ourselves. Actually, I think the place after this isn't going to be so expensive if we decide to go where we've talked about. Sorry, the place after this is probably still going to be expensive, but there we go.
So Ruth says, that's the way we do it around here. If one of us breaks down, we share until we get a new one. Talking about the computers.
Yeah.
Then I can't do my work.
Yeah, but
and then
one mango.
Yeah.
One mango, Mona, and 100 was there. Some of them were more.
She says, does it come with a chauffeur to drive it home?
I was joking with one of the local lads here, and I said, what do you do with a mango like that? Because you can't. And he was saying to me, apparently these mangoes are bought only really as gifts, and they're really business gifts. But we've got a little street just near us here. It's got a nice little open market. I'll probably go down there today for a little walk. We often go out for a walk every day. And even in this little local market, they've got these $100 mangoes and these beautiful melons again, all in a big sort of like soft doily, in a big sort of cushioned basket. You know, $80, $120 for a melon. So this isn't something you can just sort of say to the kids, oh, there's a couple of melons on the side if you guys want to eat anything while we're out, you know, or oh, mum's come home, oh, she's bought some peaches. Let's say, you know, you're not going to get a bowl of these things.
Petrie says the fruits you're talking about are special fruit. They raise them to better quality and flavour than the regular fruit you'd normally get in the store.
They are very, very special. And okay.
That should be up to see in the store.
Yes, they are very special fruits. Now, I've been told that they're often given to, in Japan, they have a culture when you rent an apartment, you often have to pay the landlord what's called a gratuity money or a gift. You have to give the landlord a gift. It's a very unusual society. A lot of things in Japan are very different to the way we are. So they'll often give to the landlord a gift and a little bow and hand them some gratuity money, or often some of these fruits. And apparently somebody said to me almost all of these fruits are bought just to be given as gifts, and quite often they're used as gratuity money, so you're giving them to a landlord as a way, a token of thanking him for letting you rent the place that you're living in. So go figure. I know it raises so many questions in so many wrong questions in your head, but I don't think there's any chance on this earth that people are buying these just for their kids, and you know, 4 mangoes are $400. So we'll see. I don't think we'll be buying a $100 mango to taste. And apparently, yes, Petrie, they're really special. I mean, they get them to the optimal sweetness. For example, with the melons, not the watermelons, because they do like a rock melon, which starts at around about $70 a melon. With the rock melons, they actually feed the melons with a seawater, and they have to get exact. So the sodium gets into the melon, adding extra flavor. But if you put too much in, it goes rotten. So you have to be careful. So they've learned this over years to get the perfect melons and the perfect but really, there isn't anywhere in my mind that could make that melon worth $100. 20 maybe. Yeah, I could accept. That would be an expensive melon. But no, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. We'll share more of that with you, by the way. We'll share more of that with you as we find.
So Yo-Yo Max says check out the 7-Eleven stores.
Oh, Tammy, you got to see the 7-Elevens. I was very tempted, Tammy, after we went to McDonald's this morning to film a little bit of a Mackie breakfast, and I wanted to get all the different types of McDonald's breakfast. Well, firstly I had to, because it's Byron's favorite, I had to get nuggets, which you can get at breakfast time here, nuggets, fries and a Sprite. But on top of that, I wanted to get the wasabi or the seaweed, are they wasabi, do you think?
Yeah.
French fries. I wanted to get some of the cool McDonald's stuff, but we had a failure this morning. The internet completely let us down. And I said to Michelle on the walk back, because we passed a 7-Eleven, maybe we should go in 7-Eleven and just get some of their cool stuff they got in there and sit in 7-Eleven. But we were both knackered, and we were both a little bit sort of, and it's only when we got into the apartment we said, no, we really should do a live show today because it'll be fun. So yes, 7-Eleven for sure. Tammy, I'll take you to 7-Eleven because there's stuff in 7-Elevens here that you don't get anywhere else in the world, and it's kind of fun. The other day, what was it? Seven got the strawberry sandwiches.
Yes.
So there's like this great big strawberry stuck inside a sandwich. That looks kind of cool. They've got also, we'll definitely do that, Tammy.
So Petrie says, going back to the expensive fruit, are they used for gifts? Like you said, the gift I think is called key money, but that might be Korea I'm thinking about.
It is called key money. There's a Japanese word for it. It's like keto or I forget the exact. You could probably look it up for me if you don't. It's like a Quito money or Kyoto money. Here's my Japanese going well. Oh, Ohio gozaimasu, everybody. I should have said that. You know, I was meant to say Ohio gozaimasu this morning when I started in Mac, which is good morning in Japanese, for those of you that didn't know how clever I was. But we were so stressed out in, you know, even before we started that McDonald's show, we'd spent nearly 10 minutes trying to get a connection. It was like Michelle couldn't get on, I couldn't get connected. Every time I went onto YouTube, it kept dying. So even by the time we started, I don't know if you sensed it at all, I was already stressed out. And then when it just died after 5 minutes, after I said to Michelle, go and order the breakfast from McDonald's. And she went off to get all the stuffs coming back. And I said, it's all died. The internet's died. I can't get on. And yeah, it wasn't a happy time because it wasn't like off for 3 minutes. It was off for half an hour.
So Ruth says our McDonald's price is higher.
No, I don't think so. I'm not super. Hey, Boda, how are you? I'm not super up on McDonald's prices, so you'd have to tell me when I go. We will go back to McDonald's. I'll give them another chance. We'll probably go to a different store.
And Mona says, oh my goodness, I hope New Zealand doesn't pick up this tradition, otherwise landlords will be getting ramen noodles.
Yeah, in a pot noodle.
And Sam says, I'm a landlord, I'd rather have that chocolate caramel you ate.
Well, that's all you get off of me, Sam. Yeah. I mean, it's. I was talking to a guy fairly candidly about the whole thing, and I think there's a sort of a disdain. It's a tradition here, but I think everybody thinks it's ridiculous, apart from, of course, the landlords, because it's not like a small amount. If you rent an apartment here, apparently you can give them tax-free and under the counter in a sort of red envelope up to sort of 2 months rent, and you're sort of like $200 mangoes by way of thanking him. And I was saying to the guy, as we were talking, as he was explaining it to me, I said, that's ridiculous. The landlord should be giving you the mango. I mean, after all, you're the one who's investing your hard-earned salary into paying the rent, so he can sorry Sam, but so he can sort of like, you know, get accrue a great income on an investment. Certainly not for the landlord to sit there holding their hand out for benefits.
Petri says, I think you'll like the stuff in the 7-Eleven. We do.
We already are liking the stuff in the 7-Eleven. I'm just trying to work out which of the bits and pieces we might go into a 7-Eleven live and let you help us pick some stuff. Maybe that'll be an idea, or maybe we do a live show from a 7 and then we'll do a taste test. Michelle's going to be a bit hesitant to do a live show.
Boda says, I'm good, thanks for asking.
I just saw you drop in there, Boda. Every now and again I see one or two of the comments swing up. So 7-Eleven for sure. There's also a convenience store here called Wilson. No, not Wilson. Lawson's. Oh, I should know. That's Dave.
Yeah, and
Davies. Oh, I'll try and remember that. My good friend Dave Lawson has got a YouTube channel, and so I should remember. So there's also a convenience store here called Lawson's, which are like a competitor to 7-Eleven, and actually they've got more stores, I think, than 7-Eleven. Family Mart as well, but Michelle's just reminded there's a third one called Family Mart. There's a few other smaller ones as well. There's more convenience stores. If I walk out of our apartment and walk down, I'll pass like 20 convenience stores in the first sort of 10 minutes. They're all over the place, but they all do similar things. So you go in into 7-Eleven, and because you all know 7-Eleven, there's stuff there. You could have a meal in 7-Eleven, a proper meal. They do some lovely karagai. Is it karagai? Karagai balls, which is a chicken, like a KFC chicken nuggets, but real chicken on a skewer. So you get a skewer of about 4 karagai. Please, somebody, is there anyone Japanese watching, tell me if I'm saying that right. Karagai? Karagai ball. And they're delicious, really delicious, like a sort of chicken nugget on a stick. You get 4 of them on a stick for around about $1, and they're tasty. You get
said
karagai. You get, I possibly going for gai, because gai is chicken in Chinese, in Cantonese. So karagi, maybe it's karagi.
Oda's also asking, have you tried the frozen grape ice cubes?
No, but Michelle always used to freeze the grapes. We often in Australia, when we used to live up in Queensland, she used to freeze the grapes in the freezer, because if you buy, when grapes are in season, if you get a big load of grapes, what do you do with them? You either got to eat grapes until you're sort of like sat on the toilet for the sort of the next 3 days, or you turn them into wine, or we used to dry them in the sun to make raisins. But they freeze really well. You can get just a bunch of grapes, stick them in the freezer and freeze, and then when you feel like it, you can pull them out and just eat them, and they melt like a beautiful grape ice cube. So if it's similar to that, Moda, we've had them many times.
But not here.
But not here. We always used to have them in Australia when we lived up in Queensland.
So Sam says, it's so interesting discovering the diversity in cultures as you travel. I'm really enjoying learning about things you don't ordinarily hear about. Yeah,
there's stuff that is fascinating here as well, and which we're going to continue to try to do a video every second day, basically. So if that's the routine, one video every second day, and occasionally when we get a bit backlogged, like I've been too busy, if that can be the case, and made too many, I might put up more than one a day. At the moment, we're doing okay, except for the failed. I did manage to get data recovery done on my MacBook, so I've managed to get back a lot of the files that I'd lost. So that means we didn't lose anything, fortunately.
So Boda said it's most likely pronounced karagi. You have to trill the R in karagi.
No, the Japanese struggle to say the R. They don't, the word R becomes an L, so it's probably more likely karagi. So karagi, so the R's become closer to an L. I know the word, it's either karagi. I've said it often enough because I've tried them several times. Actually, yesterday when we went for a big walk, we did about 1,800 steps on my phone. Congratulated me. It said, "Oh, well done. You've done so many steps that you've got a star or a tick." We went for a big walk yesterday. We were waning a bit, and like I say, there's convenience stores in almost every sort of 300 paces. So I said to Michelle, "Should we go and get some karagi? So we go and get some chicken balls." So we went into a Family Mart. We bought lots of chicken balls on a stick. They were delicious. I think actually Family Mart, for me, possibly the best, but we're going to compare them. We then we stopped about a few hundred feet down the road from there, and got some more from 7-Eleven. So that's because we were pretty hungry.
We were very hungry.
Yeah. So they're good. They are. That's how good they are. I do like them.
So, Tommy Richards says, "Ayo."
Ayo.
And Mona said, "Thumbs up for our lovely travelling duo." Thank you, Mona.
Oh yeah, hit that thumbs up, Mona. What else has been happening? There's been a lot happening lately, apart from the silly laptop. Won't go down that road again.
Don't go back down that road.
But we've got ourselves an apartment, got ourselves a place to stay. We've witnessed the beautiful Japanese sakura, so we were here just in time to see the beginning of the sakura in Fukuoka prefecture where we are. It comes later than other parts of Japan, so we got here as it came to its full bloom. and I think I've got some quite nice video footage to share with you of the cherry blossom. We did the Korean snack video a couple of days ago, as I said, in a park just as the cherry blossom was starting to fall off the trees. So we've got the beautiful like snowing of the cherry blossom. Had a bit of a disaster there. You'll see in the video when I put it up. Didn't go so well. I wasn't going to put it up, but I thought, well, I've got to really, because we did the Korean supermarket tour. So yes, it's going up anyway. Forgive me if it's a little bit disjointed. I think it's still fun to watch though.
Yeah.
Yeah. At one stage in the video, we're sat out in a park and there's this little baby crawling, but in the background, you'll see over my shoulder, you'll see this little baby like crawl. You know what little ones crawl like? It wasn't that little actually. He's probably about 18 months,
Yeah.
2 years.
He was standing at one point.
He can stand, but he was crawling from way back in the distance, like a little speck. And as he gets closer and closer, and then I cut to another shot and he's just behind my shoulder, and I cut to another shot and he's virtually sort of crawling up Michelle's back. And so look out for that. That's kind of fun. I didn't notice it until I did the edit, that he was, I did notice him as he went past Michelle, but I didn't notice him coming in the background. And that was cool. We also have filmed a Japanese snack video, not this one, but some other snacks that we got in the Sakura fields, in the Sakura park, which went better. We didn't get the same issue we did with the Korean snacks. So there's some good videos to come. Yeah, lots to share, lots of fun.
So John Chenler says you should have your own travel show on TV. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, John. We'll probably stick with you. I did think the other day just how much I watched somebody doing a show on Japan, but it was done on television. I thought, oh man, how lucky those people are. They probably walk out, they do their bit to camera, go back, sit in their hotel room and get massaged and pampered as the sound crew run around doing everything, and then they walk back out, do another piece to camera. Oh, I'm here, it's Sakura, how beautiful. Back to the apartment, sit down. You know, a lot of these TV presenters do so little work compared to what we have to do to produce what we do. It's just funny. I was watching a guy who was doing it in this area, and it was a television production, and I thought, oh, blessed are you. You sat there having such an easy time being sort of chauffeured from one sort of cherry blossom tree to the next cherry blossom tree to do a little presentation piece. That would be nice. It's not going to happen, but it would be nice. In the meantime, you know, with this, we do this for our own joy, and we choose to do it. It just makes you laugh sometimes when you see. I think somebody said to me once, "Who's that guy who does the strange food? You know, goes around eating everything from sort of like cockroaches." There's a famous American food traveler that does that sort of thing. And a friend of mine actually saw him operating in Bangkok at one time, and he was literally, you know, dropped at the front door of the place in a taxi, did a little bit to camera, and then got taken away while all the 50 or so film crews, producers, directors, and that sort of did all the work in the background. And I thought, oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, probably time we wrap this up. All right, I'm gonna get going. There's lots to come. Michelle and I have got to, well, we haven't got to do anything really, but we're going to get off anyway. Loved you all. So glad that the rest of you came in.
Andrew Zimmerman.
Andrew Zimmerman. Zimmerman or Zimmerman?
Right.
Yes, it was Andrew. A friend of mine saw him doing a show in Bangkok, and he was just explaining to me just how little Andrew did. It was not that he does. I'm sure the guy works hard, but he was also a YouTuber, the guy that I was talking with, and he was saying it's so easy for them. You know, they just turn up. They do their piece to camera, they get made up, you know, there's a girl there doing all the sort of makeup for them, and then they go and stand and they go, I'm in the street eating cockroach pieces and blah, blah, blah. And then he gets in the taxi and they sort of show from off to an air-conditioned Zimmerman, I think so, yes, Boda. I think Zimmerman is, I actually know a Zimmerman, but I think it's, yeah, so it's interesting compared to, and I was watching a guy doing a video on Fukuoka, and he was filming here in Fukuoka, but it was for TV, and everything was perfect. All the shots were perfect, all the things, and every time the guy was there, he was beautifully made up, and he was doing his piece. A young guy doing his piece to camera, and then I was saying to myself how lucky he was to have a TV crew doing that for him, because he probably had a whale of a time. And they spend nothing. Of course, when they come on these sort of trips, they have no expenses whatsoever, so they don't have to sort of say, oh, should we spend $400 going down to the hot springs or not? They just get shipped down there. All right, on that cheery note, on top of the MacBook, the camera that I used, the camera I used to do the vlogs that I only got 3 months ago, also packed in. That's another story. We'll talk about that later. Love to you. Take care, everybody, from here in Fukuoka, Japan. Be good. And Michelle and I will see you very shortly. I'm not sure which video is going up next, but I think it's the Korean snacks. Is that right, Michelle?
Yeah.
The Korean snacks, which wasn't filmed many days ago. So enjoy it. Until next time, love to you all. Be good. And we'll see you in